Welcome, Internet. Today we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence as it pertains to psychotherapy and my perspective as a clinical psychologist on this very topic. So let me preface this by saying that I am not a computer scientist and that my knowledge comes first and foremost by podcasts I've listened to and interviews that I've seen, and that I've read maybe one or two articles, so I'm not completely ignorant of the subject, but I'm not an expert by any means. So why I wanted to talk about it is because modernly and very recently, AI has been the crucible of so many fascinations. It has been really a buzzword, to be honest, and it has virtually exploded to a point where everything and anything can be replaced by AI. And for the subject that matters to us is the fact that psychotherapy has been put under scrutiny, that it might be able to be replaced with AI, that no longer human therapists, but AI therapists. So what do I think about it? Well, I am kind of skeptical about it, and I'm going to explain why. Though I don't doubt that AI has made immense progress, and I don't even doubt the fact that AI is capable of a certain diagnosis, at least a DSM diagnosis, with relative ease, I am very doubtful that it can do the real work of a therapist. So how come? Well, it stems from my understanding of artificial intelligence. From my understanding of it, from what I've been explained, what people have explained to me, computer scientists with whom I had a discussion, AI is called generative, but it doesn't really generate anything. It's not creative per se. It's more that it collects information and redistributes the information in the most logical way. Okay, so first and foremost, that doesn't create information. It just duplicates it, and it just asserts it. In this way, as I was saying earlier, a DSM diagnosis would be possible. You tap like I am depressed, or I don't sleep well, or I have gained weight, and the artificial intelligence can then match all of those criterias to create a diagnosis. However, where I think it becomes much more tricky is when you ask it to treat the disorder, the illness. I think that in that case, it can only be very relatively successful. So let me start by saying that there are some cases which have seen that AI has had some moniker of success, notably in everything that touches very severe depression. That, for example, for people that could not leave their homes or so depressed they could not eat, shower, take care of themselves, it has been shown that AI and even gaming forms of therapy like video games have been effective to help those people. And I'm not taking away that aspect. I think it can be useful to an extent. But where I think it won't really replace psychotherapy, or at least not psychodynamic therapy, is that psychodynamic and psychoanalysis are based fundamentally at the core on creativity. It's not about having a list of symptoms and then applying a treatment, as would be like a recipe. Quite the opposite. There is no recipe in psychoanalysis. Each patient is very different. Of course, as a clinician, you have your tools, your theories, your beliefs and thoughts and feelings, but these are not protocol. Like, for example, one patient that would come in for, let's say, an issue, like on the top of my head, let's say schizophrenia. You're going to have two schizophrenic patients, but you're not going to do the same work with each of them. They might not perceive the symptoms in the same way, experience, live their vision, live their lives in the same way. So therefore, treatment is not going to be similar. And as such, because there's such a wide difference for the same exact illness, and that's why I think AI can't do it, because AI does not adapt to the specific occurrences. It adapts to what it knows. For example, this goes in this box, but if we think outside of the box, then I think AI is going to be very quickly limited. And it also comes from experience when I tried to go through AI to see what it could do. And very quickly, when I tried it, it became very limited. It gave the most basic, how can I say, creative, unoriginal ideas. And since that are virtually common knowledge. And what I found very interesting in my own experience of trying AI, not for therapy, mind you, but just as a conversation, just to see how the tools worked. Well, it was not, I didn't find it that impressive, to be completely honest. Like, yes, it does give accurate answers at a speed in which perhaps we humans would never be able to do, and with more details than we humans are able to do. But, and it's a big but, we put something that the AI doesn't, a little something. So that little something is hard to define. As Yalom points out at the beginning of the gift of therapy, is that there is a little je ne sais quoi in therapy, a little something that's different for every patient that you put in as a human into the process of psychoanalysis or of psychotherapy, which the AI cannot do because it's limited. It doesn't really have that je ne sais quoi. It's also good to say that I think that there's a fundamental also, at the very core, difference in how we see things and how we perceive psychotherapy. What I mean by that is that I think that people that push for AI, or at least sell AI in a cultural sense, of like they're pushing forward for it, they're emphasizing it, they're basically selling its merits on psychotherapy, do not understand psychotherapy. So it might be a bit of a harsh judgment, but what I mean by that is that I think they are under the strange pseudo belief of what is therapy. For them, therapy is basically like a medical treatment. You get the molecule works, end of story. Like in the same way psychotherapy in their minds would work. Like you get the problem is identified, then there is treatment. Treatment is a protocol of X, Y, and Z. And once you do X, Y, and Z, be it with a human, with a machine, or with anyone else, the protocol, once fulfilled, gives the results. And I think that's, in terms just of theory, completely false. And it stems more of misunderstanding of what it is. So I think that even in CBT, it's not what happens. So like, I mean, of course there are protocols, but it's not fundamentally what happens. I think that when psychotherapy works well, the clinician adapts himself or herself to the patient. That adaptability is not a recipe. As you change slightly the protocols or what you would be doing with someone else, you change it very so slightly that it becomes tailored to the person you have in front of you. An AI does not seem to me to be capable of tailoring to the same extent the work to the patient. Also, the AI does not give some creative elements which the therapist might be able to do. For example, the therapist might be able to connect with the experience of a patient, might be able, for example, to put a metaphor, a sensation into the therapeutic setting. Metaphor or sensation that will deeply connect with the patient, a connection that I don't think the AI can make, because the AI is working on a basis of everything that has already been done. But if you're doing something completely new, then the AI can't do it. That's your prerogative as a human being. And I also think that the people that create AI forget the fact that we humans are not computers. We are not ourselves machines. Our brains are not computers. I think that false analogy has, in part, undermined the whole discipline of psychology, because our brains don't work as computers would work. It's very different. We humans need so much more than just a hard drive and software to function. We need things like meaning in our lives, connections, humanity, kindness, love, care. If we don't have these things, we slowly withdraw and in some cases even die. What I mean by that is that even infants, if they're just careful, like just changed, fed, and that's it, like the very, very basic needs, like vital needs are met, but no love, no care, no interaction, no happiness, no love, well, the infant withdraws in themselves and in very, very extreme cases, like hospitalism, they tend to die of it. So that shows that we humans are fundamentally different from a machine. And we also need all of these things, but we need a fundamental connectiveness. And I think that's where all of these AI experts or people that believe that AI can replace psychotherapists kind of miss the point, because therapy is as much, how can I say, a setting as it is a connection. That you can get the setting accurate, you can get the data accurate, you can get the diagnosis accurate, you can get the treatment plan accurate. If you can't connect, and if the person can't connect, then nothing will happen. And I am also of the belief that we psychotherapists change with the patient. It's not just a one-way street where treatment is given, patient changes, good outcome, great. No, it's the patient can only change if we change. The patient can only grow if we grow. And it's together that we solve the issues of mental health, or at least stabilize them or make them less a source of suffering. Whereas I don't think AI can change with the patient. AI can give an illusion of presence, but cannot give true presence. It cannot give true care, true attention. And there's also another problem with AI, is that when it doesn't know, it tends to do what they call hallucinate, i.e. the AI creates a response that's completely false. And I think that's very dangerous for psychotherapy, as if the machine is completely trusted, then it can create something that is completely false and fabricated, and the patient can start believing it. You might say that therapists can do the same, and to an extent, yes, but therapists on the whole are very responsible people. There are few and bad apples, but they're far and few between, right? At least in my experience. Most people that I've met in this field are genuinely caring, and they would not lie or manipulate the patient. And I'm not saying the AI would spontaneously do it, but I think that because this technology is very recent, it can't do as much. And especially because right now the AI I don't think is as refined as it should be to handle conversations, to handle also transference, i.e. what the patient is going to feel towards it. All of these domains, which are very important in psychotherapy, even essential, the AI can't really manage them. And there's also this point of like meaning. Like even if the person that's in therapy with the machine or the AI puts meaning into it, the machine does not have any meaning. And one can say that like, yes, but as long as the patient has the meaning, that's enough. I don't think so. I think that is not enough. I think that the whole point of therapy is a shared meaning between both patient and practitioner, that the meaning is essential bridge for the help that is given. If you don't have that bridge, I think the effects are quite limited. And finally, but not least, I think that there is also another massive problem with the people that develop these AIs, not necessarily the developers themselves, but the people that like try and sell it as an alternative to therapy, or at least believe that there could be an alternative to therapy in the future, is that they tend to dismiss our emotions. Emotions are something of an obstacle, rather than something to be an accepted part of ourselves. It's something to be overcome. Like in a way, in a very strange way, when I listen to these people, I have the feeling that the goal is not to help our humanity grow with the AI, but make our humanity basically stick to the AI. It is not about becoming more human, it's about becoming more AI, more capable of processing without feeling. And I think that that's one of the big dangers, perhaps, of that mentality. Not necessarily that the AI will do it like that. I mean, I don't know, I'm no computer expert, but the feelings that we have inside of ourselves should not be dismissed. I think that that's the first thing that is important in psychotherapy. And if machines can't understand our feelings, not in a connective way, well, they will be based on this idea of we do this, and that. Whereas it's not exactly that works. And I think that these people that basically have this fantasy of an AI that could just replace us because it's only talking, and as soon as the AI will be able to talk and respond fluidly, it will be done. It's not true, because the AI can't daydream, the AI can't use its own subjectivity to help others. The AI cannot use all of those very idiosyncratic and yet incredibly important parts of our humanity, of our subjectivity and of our phenomenology. It can't use that because it doesn't have that. It doesn't have that phenomenology, so therefore it has to rely on data. But data, raw and cold, can't do that job. It's an ultimate limit to what the AI can do, as the AI can't use its subjectivity. And let's not fool ourselves. In psychotherapy, it's our subjectivities as clinicians that also help the patient within their own subjectivity. So without subjectivity, can a machine fully help? I'm not saying it can't help at all. That I feel that there is a place for AI, but I don't think AI will replace psychodynamic and psychoanalytic therapies. Quite the opposite. I think that it will be marked in failure when it will try. But that's my perspective. I might be wrong. I mean, it might develop to the point where it's perfect, but I very much doubt it. I also should thank the subscriber that asked me for this, because it was an interesting conversation. And if you have anything you want to put in the comments, feel free to do so in the comments. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.